Hello, I'm Ed, and here's 5 essential pieces of kit that every rookie racing driver needs. First up, a race suit. Now you could turn up to a race weekend for your first time in an old boiler suit from your mechanic's workshop or whatever, but I tell you what, they are not going to let you on track. You have to have a proper FIA rated race suit, regulated to the standards for fire retardant performance. When it comes to safety, it only makes sense to get the best that you can afford. But if you are on a budget, there is the opportunity to potentially get a second-hand race suit. However, these race suits have sell-by dates. That is to make sure that people are not wearing the same race suits that they've been wearing since the 70s, since the 80s. Technology has moved on, material standards have improved. We can't let people out on racetracks in the modern day wearing old suits. Now, when you go to a race weekend, the stewards will investigate your kit and they will make sure that it is homologated in the correct year. As with all these essential pieces of kit, it can be very tempting to just go online and find the best price. I would encourage you, especially with your race suit, to go to a shop, a provider, go try on different sizes and make sure you get a feel for the race suit itself, especially in the first time you buy one. Top tip is to make sure it's just maybe one size too big. It looks a bit baggy and you might feel a bit daft wearing it, but believe me, in your first few race series, the one thing you want to be is comfortable in the car. Completing your race suit, fireproof underwear, balaclava to go under your helmet, top, your cover with long sleeves, and your long johns trousers that go under your suit. And the final item is your fireproof racing socks. This is something that generally gets overlooked, but believe me, these are the comfiest things you're going to have in your feet. Normal socks won't cut it, and also normal socks are made of materials that are quite flammable, so don't fall into that trap. Now, your fireproof underwear, literally as it sounds, it goes underneath your race suit, but you don't wear anything else underneath it. I didn't know this when I started racing, and I was just wearing t-shirts and maybe even a pair of jeans under my race suit. Madness. I know that now, but I didn't know at the time. So for you as a rookie, make sure you invest in some good fireproof underwear. Now, I have bought a brand called Walero, based on the fact that they are cool to touch. These fireproof undergarments actually cool you down when you sweat. It's absolutely incredible to experience. I've had other undergarments which actually make it even more sweaty, just makes it feel like you're wearing a ski suit with long johns. Believe me, this stuff is well worth the investment. It is expensive, so it comes down to whatever budget you have, but it is massively important. Buy the best you can, because in the event that your car is on fire in the barriers, and you can't get out because you're trapped because the door's up against the tyres, you want to know that you have got the best fire equipment underneath your race suit that you can buy. Next up, race boots. The first thing you need to understand about race boots is they form part of your fireproof kit. So you want to make sure you're buying it from a reputable brand and that you are trying these boots on. When you buy your race boots, make sure you buy them a little bit too big, and I'm saying one size or half a size too big. The reason is, when you're in a race car, you use your boots completely differently than you would normally do if you're walking. You're pressing so hard on that brake pedal and your toes are being pushed to the end of the shoe. So my advice, give your toes that little bit of extra room and you will have a much more comfortable drive. Do not fall into the trap of buying fashion racing trainers. The reason you need to have high top racing boots is your race suit will fit inside the top of your boots, and then you can use the Velcro strap around the top to tie that in. By doing so, you create a fireproof seal all the way from your toes to the top of your head. Once you've been racing for a while, you might want to get yourself a bit more of a pair of snazzy, branded, better looking shoes that match your race kit. However, they are going to get trashed if you're walking around in them all weekend. So what you need is a comfortable pair of trainers. Now, the trainers are going to make sure that when you're walking miles over the weekend, which you will do, you have got comfortable feet, because the last thing you want to do is get into a race car with having achy feet. Now stick around to the end of the video, because we've got an extra bonus life hack that will make getting around on a race weekend even easier. Next item, race gloves. It's very difficult to go wrong with race gloves. There's no undergarment you need. They will all be fireproof no matter which manufacturer you choose. I chose these without too much thought, and I chose them as a black colour to match my black racing suit. Top tip from me, that was a mistake. As I got more experienced as a rookie, I realised that inside the cabin, when I was looking at my V-Box data footage, I could not see where my hands were positioned on the wheel or how much turning angle I was putting onto the steering wheel. Race car cabins are dark, very often black, so the black gloves didn't stand out on the video. The next pair of gloves I bought, bright white. Well, they used to be white, they always get a bit dirty and a bit covered. However, making sure that you have got a light coloured pair of gloves to ensure that when you're driving you can see what turning angle you're putting onto the steering wheel is massively helpful for both you and your driver coach to continue giving you advice. Next up, helmet and hands device. Now, from my point of view, I've had to learn the hard way. In my first rookie season, I went through 3 different helmets, and that's not because I had crashes and smashed them up. That was purely down to a little bit of bad advice and a little bit of rushed decision making from my point of view. I started with an open face helmet. The person that I was buying helmets from said, you don't need a full face helmet because you're driving a GT car with a windscreen. That was incredibly wrong. I found that when I was out on track, even in testing, let alone in races, stones were being flicked up from a car that I was chasing and they would come through the windscreen like a bullet and glass shards would be splattered into my face. So please, when you're considering your helmet, try and make sure that you are fully aware of the risks of what you're taking on and make sure that you buy the most appropriate helmet for you. The next helmet that I bought was a full face helmet. You've got that perspex screen protecting your eyes, it's absolutely perfect. However, I got such tunnel vision and focus on making sure it was a full face helmet that I forgot various different items that were essential. It didn't have what's known as comms. Now, comms refers to communication device. Now, when you're a rookie, it's essential you have comms in your helmet because you will have your driver coach sat next to you in the passenger seat imparting advice when you're going around track together and they're trying to improve your driving. Inside a race car, it is unbelievably loud. You cannot hear yourself think. You get used to it as the driver, but if you're trying to communicate with someone who's trying to teach you how to be a better driver, it's the only way you're going to hear those instructions. If you do not have comms in your helmet, you will have to get an uncomfy retrofit, push a few speakers up and put a microphone into your helmet. It's really uncomfortable, it's really unnecessary. Make sure that you buy a helmet, it's a full face helmet with comms. The next thing is the weight. This helmet is actually quite heavy, and when you've done a full race, your neck will start to hurt. So my third and final iteration of the helmet that I now use on a regular basis is my carbon fiber Stilo ST5 59L. This helmet has got the 3 things that I need. It's full face, it's got comms, and it is lightweight carbon fiber. This helmet really was the best I could afford, and when I think back to the amount of smashes, bangs and near scrapes that I've had, I am so glad that I spent the money to get myself the best helmet I could, because I know that one day it really could save my life. As part of your helmet kit, you will need a hands device. Hands device stands for head and neck support device. This is an element that sits over your shoulders, connected to your helmet to stop you from getting whiplash in the event of an impact, or even in more severe cases, breaking your neck. Your hands device is a requirement for racing within the UK and across the globe. You will not be allowed to race unless you have a steward certified hands device approved on your race weekend. The final item on the list, your kit bag. It's essential on a race weekend to make sure you have got one place to fit all the items of kit that we've just talked about. This kit bag is lockable, and inside it's got various different pieces of webbing to keep all of your items in place when you open up the bag. You can see that my bag is battered to hell. It has been smashed about, thrown in the boot, thrown in the awning, thrown in the pits. It gets battered. The last thing you want to do is let the contents inside get battered just as badly. That's why I like to have a hard shell kit bag to provide protection for the items that are inside, which are usually very expensive things like carbon fiber racing helmets. I made the mistake as a rookie of thinking that because I was a racing driver, I was going to be treated with priority, and that isn't the case. You get no special treatment. You will be asked to park generally the same place as all the public. And that, I promise you, is normally a 20-minute walk to where you need to get to with the awning with your race team. For that reason, you do not want to be doing multiple trips backwards and forwards to the boot of the car. It's tiring. The one thing you want to make sure you do is get all your essential bits of kit that we've just discussed into one bag. I hope you found this information useful, and if you have, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. And for that bonus item, when you're at a race event, over the weekend, you're doing a lot of walking. Racetracks are deceptively huge, so to save your legs, my suggestion is that you invest in an electric scooter. At first, you might feel a bit self-conscious driving around on what is fundamentally a kid's toy. But believe you me, by the end of the weekend, everybody else who hasn't had one of these will be trudging back to the car with foot ache, neck ache, back ache, knee ache, and you can just fly by on your scooter and you will not be suffering the same kind of aches and pains. One word of caution, just be wary. Some race event packages don't actually permit the use of electric scooters. So bear that in mind, read the pre-event information that gets sent to you before your race weekend to be sure. So they're my essential pieces of kit for every rookie racing driver at a race weekend. Let us know in the comments below what yours are. But from me, Ed, and all the team at Bilk, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.